Hello everyone, I'm Bai. I'm e-commerce marketing expert at Omnisend, and today we're kicking off the Black Friday preparation series. And to help with that, and with our first episode, we have Vinny O'Brien, who is our friend, and he's many things, so I will allow him to introduce himself in a moment. But for now, Vinny, would you like to say hello?
Good morning, good afternoon to everyone, wherever you're calling in from. Really pleased to join you. I'm very excited to be here with Vi this morning. Going to try and match your energy levels. I do not know if it's possible.
We'll see.
Let's see it, right.
Alrighty, a couple of things to know before we begin. This session is being recorded. You will receive the recording in a couple of days, and we will also include the slides, so you'll be able to go through everything at your own pace. And if at any point you have any questions, there's a Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen. So just drop your questions in there so we can answer those either in the moment, or we will wait till the end when we're going to have a Q&A session. And we also have customer support in the chat. They're real people, and they're happy to answer any other questions you might have. So if anything, drop those questions in the chat. If you have any questions for Vinny, drop those in the Q&A tab, and then we'll make sure to answer those. So Vinny, the stage is yours.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Vi. And thank you to everyone for joining us. My name is Vinny O'Brien. I'm calling you today from southwest of Ireland. So wherever you are, you've probably flown over here or will be here at some point. I've been in our e-com world for about 20 years. I've worked with companies such as eBay. I work with General Motors right now on merchandising strategy, and I've worked with companies like PepsiCo, and then a whole raft of startup and SMB companies across Ireland, UK, and Europe. And I'm a partner to Omnisend in quite a number of things. Probably not as expert as Vi, but I do love Black Friday. I love the planning side of it. And I hope today to share some of my insights on things that are working for me and teams that I have had over the years. I've had my own D2C brand, so I'm not a preaching consultant. I'm somebody who has the scars and has all the sorrowful tales of what it is to be an e-com business owner. We sell thermally insulated tents into the US market. We were born out of crowdfunding, and we came out fighting. My message, I guess, to you today as kind of an ethos or a mindset to get into is fail to prepare to fail. Where I live, we're beside the ocean and beside the mountains together. So we always have this expression here, there's no such thing as bad weather, there's just bad preparation. So you bring the right clothes with you for every eventuality. Ireland is, as you know, the land of 4 seasons in one day. Currently as well, I work with a boutique analyst firm over in New York. So I work East Coast time for those of you dialing in from the US. So we just come online now as well. And I work with a number of SaaS companies and platforms as well, right across the e-com industry. We produce a weekly news show, which is kindly partnered with Omnisend. And we also produce a live show on a Friday. So if anyone wants to tune in, I'll leave some details at the end where you can find me at the end of it all. Hopefully, though, between now and then, there'll give you some interesting points about Black Friday points of view. I encourage you to ask questions. As I said, we have real people willing to take the answers. And I'm going to guide you through this as smoothly and safely as possible, like a good pilot. So Black Friday, it's coming up, 79 days away. I'm not afraid of you, Black Friday. I'm always ready, but there's always things that we can do differently. And given that the last couple of years have been so busy and fractious and all these other things, sometimes we're not as prepared as we would like to be. So I'm going to call this the 4 C's of Black Friday readiness, and plus one bonus C. I'm going to hide that till the end, but I lost that in the design phase because I'm just not that well planned myself. Don't do what I do what I say, I guess, is the way that I parent. So I'm going to keep that in line as we go through this as well. So the 4 C's, as I look at them, it's compliance, customer, campaign review, and consistency. And one of the things I called about when I was trying to build this together for you is try to put together something that works outside of Black Friday. Black Friday is one of those really important areas because you either sign up new customers or you excite customers you have already. But there's loads that we can learn from it that we can be taking into our daily lives as well. And the final point, curiosity, that's my bonus C that we're going to take into 2026 to make us all better marketers and hopefully a little bit more curious as to how we can do better all the time, because e-commerce, as we know, is not just about the monthly or the weekly wins, it's about the daily wins. What can we do today to affect change that we didn't do yesterday? And what do we know? Is the weather different? Is there something in the news that we can tap into? Is there something we learned from the campaigns that we were running yesterday or the site visitors that we were getting? So this idea of curiosity is more about mindset and how you bring your team forward or you as team members maybe want to push your management team into 2026 to give you the support that you need to do certain things. This presentation was brought to you by the letter C in true Sesame Street fashion. That is me, the Cookie Monster. Cookie is kind of a little deferential nod to compliance here as well. And you thought Black Friday wouldn't be a big deal. They're going to be working around the clock, and so you should be. We should be thinking about this all the time. And the reason I say that is we can sometimes get into complacent mode where we set campaigns running and we don't come back to them, or we have our flows that are working for us and we don't necessarily come back and say, can we change anything? One of the big pieces of feedback that I've taken through a lot of seller sessions, and we had representatives at Beanstalk yesterday in New York, over in Brooklyn. The thing that retailers are telling us is that the tariff impact is still in front of us. They're expecting it to hit from this month on, so that the consumer is going to be really starting to feel a pinch from tariff effects. What that means for us is that we've got to be nimble, we've got to be reactive, and we've got to be willing to change and to expect change as kind of the norm as we go through Black Friday. So as I think about it, Black Friday is not something that we set and leave. It's something that is going to be living, moving, breathing, and shifting around. So to get this right, you can kind of get ahead of some of these areas. Compliance, so important in everything that we do, particularly in email, where we spend so much time and effort trying to bring legitimate emails through. Sometimes we don't take the necessary steps in to make sure that everything is okay. This view might be something you do all the time, but I think in terms of a checklist and something that you should be doing, these are the sort of things that you can do now so that you don't get caught in spam jail. The last thing you want is that you got a great offer, you've got a great message to get to somebody, and no one knows about it. There is nothing worse than when something like that happens. So how can you do that? And there's bonus points for people who can guess the movie on the right-hand side. Not bonus points really, but just it might be a bit of fun. Gradual warm-up. So now we're in September. This is the time that if you're using new email addresses or introducing influencers or having an affiliate strategy, that maybe you're bringing new domains or email addresses into the mix, and you want to start warming them up so that they start hitting inboxes in a way that we know that are going to be received well, and it's something that you can build up towards so that you can start scaling it up. Maybe you want more frequency, you're going to put more numbers through them, or maybe in general you've spent the summer gathering campaigns for new email addresses coming through and you just haven't put them together. Now is the time to start doing that warm-up. Like any good sports person, at the beginning of the game you do your warm-up and you warm down so that you don't pull a muscle along the way. I think that that's something that we should all be doing. And as well, only use permission-based contacts. People that have elected to receive marketing from you, and make sure that you've got them into the right buckets and segments as well. Make sure that your domains are authenticated. And this is something that I suppose over the last 18 months has become so very important to all of us, to make sure that we have done all of this background work, and maybe you haven't done it or you're expanding your team. As I said, bringing new people into the mix. And this is a way that you can verify that all of the domains that you're using are going to be hitting inbox in the correct way. Some other things to consider in here to avoid spammy or content that are spammy content or layouts that are going to ping on that emails as well to stop them into the inbox. And I think that these are some of the proactive things that we can start doing. Most of us don't do this now. And we can test some of this as well by doing some A/B testing to make sure that our content is not. One way that I think you can, if you've never made this assessment, it's going to come up in one of the other C's, is actually to start doing campaign reviews. So a look back can give us a great little look into the future as well, which I think is an important point. And adhere to GDPR and other regional laws that are out there. So if you're doing cross-border trade, maybe you've got different laws that are governing different parts of the world that you're sending emails into. As I said, I work in Ireland. Quite a lot of my day job, where we have very strict and very stringent rules that sit around how we gather marketing intelligence and how we use it and how we communicate with people as well. It's really important for you as a business. And from a brand values perspective, you always want to be treating people in a way that they want to be treated. And one of the interesting conversations I've had recently was that people don't want to be tracked around the internet. They want to be recognized when they've asked to be recognized. And that's something I'll ask you to keep in mind. So when you're talking to people, I keep that in mind. And also then to monitor deliverability metrics. If you haven't done this, I would encourage you to reach out to your Omnisend team member, maybe through through somebody else that's in the team that can help you start looking at these things to make sure that you are getting the right kind of deliverability. You're going to get benchmarking statistics to see are you good, bad, or indifferent in this. And all of this is so that you can sleep easy and know that you're going to be hitting inboxes in a way that is going to make sure that you're maximizing the full utility of the investment that you have made in email. So that's what this first point is about, allowing you to maximize the utility of the investment that you've made, which is hugely, hugely important. And then the final point there, to use double opt-in and compliant forms throughout the site as well. And as part of all of this, you're going to start cleaning up and making sure that you haven't got dormant forms that are there from years ago, or they're appearing on pages that you're driving people to. And if you're putting together new promotional pages as well that require forms, that they're compliant as well. So I think as we go through all of this, think through the customer's eyes and think, what are the things I need to do to make sure that we do things correct? Finally, then, if you're using SMS, we need explicit compliant opt-in records as well. Keep them on file so that if there ever is a complaint, that you have all of the right checks that you can bring back to show someone that they've opted in, because we all opt into so many things right now that it becomes really difficult for us maybe to understand where and when we actually did that thing. Was it Friday night after you've had an after work drink and you just stopped in the shop to buy yourself a new jacket because it was raining, which has happened to me plenty of times, and I forget that I have opted in. But particularly as well, if you have moved providers and you're just new to Omnisend as well, these are the sort of things that I think become really important in your own onboarding. Even though there's great support there to help you through that process, these are really good behaviors for you to set down within your own team, and for you to be in control of yourself and to say, we want to have this sense of responsibility. And I think if you can set the tone out doing something like this, it really stands well to you as you move into customer planning. Probably the most difficult part for us all, because we're communicating to so many people at once, and email is such a great tool for communicating en masse. We've got to remember that we're sending to people, not just emails. And I think that that's really important, that there's someone at the end, they want to be recognized. This is where language becomes really important to us. So we have to start recognizing our customers. Very first and simple thing we can do, looking at new and returning customers. This becomes incredibly important to us, because you might be running a Black Friday campaign where you gain new customers on Black Friday. And then you've got Cyber Monday 3 days later, which is part of this promotional cycle. So have you got a plan for identifying who's new in that customer mix for you, and how you want to treat them over that very short time period? I think is something to look at. Versus your returning customers, do you want to give them early access via email as a tool? It's really, really great for getting in. And then some of the brands that I've worked with over the years, using email as that entry point, it recognizes that you're an important customer. Maybe you're buying a lot from someone, maybe you're buying frequently, maybe you buy and send to your friends because this is your gifting strategy when it comes to Black Friday and Christmas selling. Really important that you're identifying who those users are. Another part of this is for people coming onto your website. This is not just about the email that you're getting or you're sending to, but it's identifying people coming through that user experience, which I think is always really, really important. One of my favorite topics when it comes to email, and where I developed this mindset around marketing, is recency, frequency, and monetary value, or FM. Vi's favorite 3 letters in the English language, I was told once. Why is this so important? It's an old cataloging tool, if you haven't seen it or heard from it, that was developed in the 1930s. And it was a way to get people to, as you can guess, buy more frequently from you, to leave less time between purchases, and to spend more when they do it. And Black Friday weekend is a perfect opportunity for you to test that theory for yourself. So with your good customers, if we take each of them into buckets, we want our best customers to spend more with us. They spend more by better cross-selling. So are we showing them relevant products? Are we showing them products that we think are good adjacencies? Have they bought in on a hero product and we're a small brand with a small pool of products that we think will be really useful for them, and we want them to buy across our full range? So that idea of monetary value can be about basket building. So you think about the bundles that you're making on site, how you present them on email, and how you communicate why these things work together for the customer that you're speaking to becomes really, really important. Frequency. So is your product something that people are going to buy on repeat? So do you want to have a subscription option that's baked into the offer that you're putting out there? Or do you just want someone to say that I know that this product is only going to last me for a certain period of time and I want to buy this more frequently? How do you communicate that? And this becomes really important for your post-Black Friday messaging as well, because you may want to get someone to buy again from you before Christmas. It may not be till the new year. And it can help you determine what type of content you're putting in there. So is it top, middle, or bottom of funnel? And yes, we're still talking funnels because they help us understand where people are in terms of their own purchase cycle. And that's why I use that word funnel. You can use purchase cycle if you want. But if we're thinking in terms of frequency, we're thinking, what is the reasonable time frame? So I go back to a story about my wife. She used to buy this really expensive Shiseido. I'm not sure what you pronounce it like, but I'm going to say Shiseido for purposes of my own story. And she used to buy this tub of moisturizer. And I say tub is this size, fits in your hand, but it was €400, which seemed to me to be quite expensive. And she wasn't getting any younger looking. And so one of the rationale that she had as a brand ambassador for them was that if she used it correctly, she was using about 3 cents per day. Now I'm over in Europe, so I'm going to say cents, so maybe 5 cents in the US. But if she was using it correctly and applying it correctly, that meant that she was going to be using a small amount. But what that meant more importantly was she was getting the best result from the product. And I think that that's a really important aspect when it comes to email marketing, that we think, what is the right message that I'm going to sell to someone? Let's say we had a small group of customers who were using a tub of that every month. By her standards, she should have been changing that every 6 months. If someone's using it after a month and you see that, your job as a brand owner, and this comes back to how your brand values sit with yourself as well, you would be reaching out to that person saying, Vinny, you're using this infrequently too frequently based on what we're saying. We think you should be holding back and using it a little differently. So you can provide education at different funnel stages for people. But that idea of frequency becomes really important depending on the category that you're in. And then recency. So this is a really good determining factor for measuring how likely that customer is to be a repeat purchaser for you. So from there, you might be saying, well, we're going to give different groups of customers different offers depending on when was the last purchase that they made with us. Do you have Vinny who's over in Ireland? He only ever buys on Black Friday because he loves 60% off everything. That's the way he shops. It's that recognition of knowing what's that important motivating factor for the customer that determines your recency factor. If I couple all of those things together and I take myself outside of Black Friday and I look at my performance marketing, I look at my social marketing, I look at all the earned channels that I'm in and the owned channels that I'm in, this idea of RFM becomes the way that you grow a healthy business. And I don't always think in terms of specific metrics. I think about overall business health because I'm pretty confident I can look at most dashboards and see, is this trend usual or unusual relative to where your business should be? So if I look at it over a week, I can extend it out over a month and over 3 months and then over 6, and I can get a really good understanding of what's going on in the business. But the health of the business is slightly differently. When I think about improving frequency of purchase, when I think about increasing basket size, this all lands into my profitability, which is really what we're all trying to achieve. So if I'm getting less time between purchases and I'm leaving less time between now and your last purchase, and I'm getting more from you, this whole model of working becomes a really good health barometer for how your business is behaving. So when it comes to RFM analysis, I'm really keen to see that this becomes part of the way that you're starting to plan out your Black Friday and beyond segments.
I'll just jump in, Vinny, because of course that is my topic. So I cannot resist the urge to share all my excitement about the recency frequency. We will add a link in the chat and then the recap email to an article explaining life cycle map. But I just wanted to share it with everyone that you can access it on your Omnisend account, and you'll be able to go into your audience. And what I like to do with my clients and in general, just again for checking up on your business and its health, just go check out the map and it will show you, or do you have more people that are about to churn? How many loyal customers do you have? Again, it's split into recency, frequency, and how much people are actually spending with you. So that will give you a good indication, again, where you are right now and then where you headed, and then you can review it after Black Friday as well.
Yeah, I like it's such great advice to be able to just dip in and see that on the map, because it can help determine the sort of marketing that you want to do in any way, shape, or form. But if you consider all your other channels where you don't have that signpost, this is a really powerful signal for you to say, well, actually, I need to get my skates on and start talking to these people who are at risk, and I don't want them to go to competitors. So it can even help with your Black Friday planning. Let's say Amazon decide to go earlier in the shift to market for us, and we see we've got at-risk people. We don't need to wait till Black Friday to get our offer out there. We can excite people at a time that's earlier. That's probably been my biggest learning about Black Friday overall, but you've reminded me of it, which is we can change the way that we market to our customers beyond Black Friday, using it as a lever to say, well, we know that we can win customers, brand new ones, or we can reignite people who haven't bought from us before. So why don't we try that 3 times over the year of 2026 rather than wait till Black Friday? And we don't have to go to 40% off. We can only go to 20% off because now we're exciting our new customers. And we can develop a profile for what it is that your customers love getting from you. And I think as we go through it, even come up with a new word for your customer, give them a name, give them a picture, put it on the wall, name them. And in our tent business, we used to have Mikey and John, and they both had two very different personas for us. And they were marketed to very differently, and they looked different, and they talked different, and drank different beers. So we just really clear picture of who those people were. And it's really important. And that comes to building segment specific content and offers, which I've talked quite a bit about now. But this idea of understanding where you are and the kind of the sales cycle, it then means that you can start bringing in products that are at different parts of their product life cycle. So it might be something that is end of life and you want to clear it. You might want to use Black Friday to launch a product. I know some of the best brands in the world that do this. They do it because they have a captive audience on Black Friday. People are expecting something from them. Why not launch something new? You know, if you're in that mode of customers who buy from you frequently, and you're in athleisure space, you're in makeup, you're in beauty, you're in skin care, these can be really good times to put content in your offer around those life cycle segments as well. And then finally, as part of all this, automate dynamic personalization products, tone, discounts, and test out the different sorts of subject lines that you want to get, or the pre-header information that you want to get into people. And within the tools that are already in Omnisend, you can start looking at how you can show different products to different customers. And I think grouping all of that together means that you can be flexible during those days. You can make changes, but also you can make the platform work for you. As I said, you're already invested in this. Spending time understanding how the tools operate is something that you can do now to make your life a lot easier during those key periods. And when it comes to something like discounts, if you're in one of those highly competitive categories where you're going to be competing with lots of people with substitute products, your ability to be dynamic and flexible and agile during this period becomes really important to your customers, not to you, but to your customers. In order to get that right, you've got to listen. Apply AI to predict and personalize in real time. And I just kind of talked a little bit about that. So what we now have is the fact that you don't need to be sat at your computer 24/7. You can still be taking your personal time. The whole idea here is that you give your customers the opportunity to leverage all the tools that you have as well, so that they get the best out of it, and you can maximize your offer over time. Because what we're trying to do is manage life cycle moments. My video is not loading on the left, but it's a great dance from one of my favorite videos by, if you can name the band, go for it. I'll let you see, can you guess the name of the song or the name of the band? They are 30 years old today. But we have discovery, we've got purchase, we've got post-purchase, and we've got this cycle that goes on and on and on. So if you're in a space where you're bringing your customers, your best customers in early, the day before Black Friday, what else can you sell to them over the weekend? What are those other relevant products? Can you let them share their love of your product as a gift to somebody else? Think about the messaging and the way that you want to excite them. Do you just want to say thank you to someone? Is that all that you want to do, having then supported your Black Friday efforts? In Ireland, it's a big thing that people support Green Friday. Of course, we have to be different in this country. My God, can we not do anything simple? But we have Green Friday, which is a representation of Irish brands all around the country who sell in small villages. So you know the products that are involved in Green Friday that you're supporting local. So you can use all these tags, all these different differentiators to drive different behaviors through your customers. Campaign review, and I'm going to try to speed up because I'm conscious of your time. I want to make sure that I'm being respectful of it. Look back before you go big. So one of the things we do really poorly, I feel as a consultant and strategist for the last number of years, is look at the results that we got from campaigns. We typically look at the report. We argue about what we did or didn't do, but we don't look at what we learned when we did the report. So start reviewing campaigns by promo, by product, by content, by segmented, by what was triggered to send that email out, and start seeing what were the things that worked that you can repeat, that you have with confidence. Now, if you're really deep into email, which I hope most of you are, you're going to know some of these things instinctively, but you use this to build what I'd call your best playbook first. So you're making all your best plays early in the day, or you decide when is the best time to make them. But by reviewing these campaigns, you figure out these other areas. You start looking at things like timing, cadence, creative fatigue. When do you need to change these things up? The timing is, what's the best time to send your email? Is it 9 o'clock in the morning? Is it 8? Or is it at 7 o'clock in the evening when people have got in from work and they don't want to think too much about the product that you're sending them? They just want to look at the offer and see, does that appeal to me? Is it better than the Amazon or the Walmart offer? that I just got out there. And the cadence that is a part of that frequency and rhythm that you're going to be getting in front of people. So how are you delivering on all of that? Finally, then creative fatigue. So we know this from all of our other ads. Maybe people are sick of seeing the same imagery from you over and over again. We now have a lot of AI tools out there. You can go on a campaign if that's something you're already doing, but provide people with something new to see from your brand. It might even just be messaging, but give them something new that can ignite the purchasing and just get them back involved in opening your email, making sure that they're in there and they're clicking and they're looking around. And looking at deliverability and unsubscribes, which we've already seen, talked about, and know what worked as expected. I think that's an important part. Did our review of the promo product content segments all work? Or was there something unexpected in there? Were we getting new customers in? Were we igniting a new audience? Was there a new time of day that was working for us? And can that inform that we want to do something different? And then the other part of that, which I think is probably more important, what surprised you? What was it you learned from doing this thing that you didn't know before? And don't take these meetings or don't have them as 1-2 hour sessions where you're trying to beat each other up or blame each other for things that didn't work. This is like, well, we didn't get the conversion rate that we wanted off this email, but what we did see was a bigger basket size because we focused more on bundles, or we brought old favorites back into our customers and they really, really liked them and we didn't have to go as deep on discount. They're the sort of things I think that you can start learning that become campaign reviews that go beyond the metrics that govern how we manage accounting cycles. And I think what they do is inform your future marketing as well. Finally, in the fourth season.
Jump in, Vinny, sorry. As you were saying, like those final points about what surprised you, what worked, it immediately just brought me back to lots of consultations I would have with new business founders in e-commerce, and they would come in with assumption, my customer is this, and that would actually be their wish, what their customer was, their aspiration for their customer. And then we will look at their data and be like, your actual customer is this. And because there was a gap between what they wanted their customer to be and what it actually was, there usually had to be some coaching and some patience into getting them in that mindset that, like, it's great to have aspirations, but your data will show who's actually buying. So why not to lean into that? And like Black Friday is coming up and you want to like double down on it for sure.
I think there's a bit of fear in there because we want to get as many sales in as possible. So we don't want to lean in on the data that we know to be correct. There's another piece in there as well that you reminded me, which is your email work outside of Black Friday can be as much about building up the information you have in your customer so that you can build a better picture of who they are and know more about them. And it's something we learned the hard way. Was we used to have an intern who worked with us, and every Friday she used to post really funny videos on Facebook for us, like a squirrel and a skateboard falling in a lake, which, look, it's hilarious. But it was giving us a misrepresentation of the sort of people who are now coming to our page to like it, because the spread of something like that and the reach was really high, but it wasn't consistent with the people who were buying from our customer set. So when we really dug in on that, there was 5 states in North America where people were buying. They were coastal. They weren't middle American, maybe hunting and fishing grounds where we thought thermally insulated tents would be really important. There was people who wanted to go camping, but loved the comfort as well. So really digging in on that data and using the information that you know becomes really key. And it really helps with something like consistency. So it means that you can start building up this model of communication with someone that is consistent and give them a consistent experience throughout your site, throughout their search experience, and throughout your discovery process as well. And we got to remember that it's a marathon, not a one-night stand. And it's something for us to start thinking of when we're building out our checklist for Black Friday consistency. So we've got to kind of map our cadence into January for us. And what I mean by that is we have a peak sales period that goes on for 3 months. So we've really got to start looking at that frequency aspect and saying, is this going to be a one and done campaign, or do we want to build a new behavior with our customer? And the image on the right from South Park is kind of tongue in cheek, but it reminds us that the behavior that we set down and the message that we give them across a very tight time frame becomes the thing or the expectation that we now expect from them. So your only job after this may be to say, well, we want you to feel like you were a valued new customer to us. We want to tell you a little bit more about the brand. When Beyonce launched Secret, her hair care brand, I signed up for it to figure out how they market. It was email number 7, which was nearly 45 days after my sign up before I saw a single product. Everything else was about the legacy of the brand, where it developed from, why they decided to do it, what product efficacy they had in there. So this idea of mapping a communication plan, we talked a little bit before the call about the importance of communication, and it's something that comes up so much for me right now. You've got to figure out what your communication strategy is so that your post Black Friday, Cyber Monday plan is consistent with how you want someone to behave with them. I'm not going to go through all of these because we're going to share the slides afterwards, but do you want to continue to send content-driven value emails? How to use your product? Is it something technical? Is it something that they wanted in the wake up to Black Friday because the price was affordable, but has it got a technical component? And are there useful pieces of content that you can repurpose that you already have and you have already invested in, but reuse them to help reinforce other brand values, sell the secondary and the byproducts of all of this? That's where your upselling and cross-selling becomes really important. And this cross-channel consistency, I think, then becomes really important. So aligning your email with SMS and social and retargeting so that people see a really coherent post-holiday narrative so that you deliver a message that becomes clear. There's one other area in this that I haven't talked about, but it's something I think is really important as well. Your customer service team are going to be so busy during this period that your consistency of message allows them to do their job really, really well for people as well. And it will be, I saw a discount last week and it's now gone. Where is it? Can I use it? I have a screenshot of it here. I think it becomes really important for them so that they can do their job with confidence as well. And the way that you handle something like that is, I think you build really strong policies, the least sexy area of e-commerce, but if you can develop strong policy handling, it allows your customer support and customer service team to do their job really, really well. So as we get close towards the end of this, I can see why you're getting...
Yeah. I wanted to ask, because I think some people are thinking about it as well. I love that list of things that you listed, but during Black Friday especially, people are holiday shopping. So shopping for other people, buying gifts, and that could create that false indication that, hey, this person just bought this product, they may be interested in this thing, but it's actually not for them. And that yet we continue sending all that information to the person who bought it. Do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, I think it comes in this value flow afterwards. So that you can go and ask that person, did you buy for yourself or did you buy for somebody else? Were you gifting? You can also look at the profile of when they've bought. So I've worked with a lot of beauty companies who you get people who maybe come in and they buy for themselves and they realize this is such a great deal and I love the product so much, I want to tell my friends. And they buy multiples over the course of your Black Friday event or going into Cyber Monday. And I think simple things like picking up the phone to them. Like if you've got a small enough team and you feel like you're a brand that's part of your value set, you can actually communicate with them directly and say, hey, you purchased a lot of this from us. We'd love to find out more about you. We'd like to reward you by putting you into a VIP program, or just create an ability for you to tag them. There's a few slides that I didn't share with you in the preparation for this. I drew them out about, I think it's 9 years ago now. I'll share them that if you want to send them out. But it's putting a value on all the pieces of information that I want to know about my customer so that I can build a fuller picture of them. And there's this idea about building that data profile of them, and we can get access on data through a number of different ways. And, depending on the jurisdiction you're in, you can find out different pieces of info really, really readily for people. So I think it's about talking to them and looking for those signals to say, does it feel like other groups of customers I see? Do they elicit same behaviors? Like, have they ever shopped from you before? Have they ever been on the site or the part of marketing rhythms that you already have? That's where the campaign review becomes really important, because then what you're able to start making fairly good judgment calls on is what was the most obvious path that person came into the offer, where did they exit, and what was our communication before, during, and in advance of that purchase cycle. But I would say is the most important is the post-sale communication plan, to understand what it is they did, why they did it, and for you to decide way before Black Friday that that's how you want to be that you want to behave. Every customer, and you can put a trigger on it to say, every customer who bought during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and did not buy for, or did not visit our site for 2 weeks after, we want to send them a communication to say, we'd like to know more about you. Tell us a little bit more about why you bought and who you were buying for. And I think it's that planning of the communication flow post-event becomes really, really important. I always say to my clients and customers, you've got to have like a 14, 30, 45 and 60-day communication cycle for all those groups coming into it. So that allows you to be better informed after the fact. You're not going to get it 100% right, and you won't get every answer that you want, but what you're doing all the time is building up that profile so that you are better informed. And that's really all we can do from a marketing perspective. Getting into bonus territory now, but wait, there's more, as they say in the movies. Curiosity and agility. I say these because they're kind of my guiding lights going into 2026 and something I encourage, this culture of curiosity. So everything we do, why you're here today, attending a webinar, coming to find out more about Black Friday, even though you probably have done this for the last 9, 10 years, 5, 6, whatever number of years, but you're here to figure out, is there one little nugget that I can do differently this year that I can add to the mix of things that I want to do? And I think that that's really important. So if you're here, you're already winning from that perspective because you're willing to learn and to bring that along with you. And if you can transfer that curiosity and that culture throughout your team, I think you become more effective during key times, because we're trying to win every day, as I said at the outset. So curiosity builds and agility wins. Curiosity is the thing that builds out the health of your campaigns, builds out how wide you want them to go, how much time you want to spend poring over your customers in advance and your customers afterwards. Agility is what's going to win. So if you're able to respond to competitors, if you're able to respond to signals from your customer on the day, we bought loads of these, you're sold out by 10 a.m. Can you source more? Can you get me more of this product? Can you win on those moments? Can you shift budgets? Are you able to say, well, we're driving money now into meta campaigns where we can see email is winning or SMS is winning? How do we shift those things along? But that idea of being agile, I think, becomes really, really important. So what do I have in here? I think you develop your Black Friday war, not for everybody, because we're also exhausted by then as well. It becomes a really challenging thing if you're trying to bundle everyone into this in one place, but develop this mentality around one communication channel that allows you to make those agile decisions and decide what information you need. Conversion rate is only one thing, revenue is only one thing. It's number of orders, number of new orders, number of new customers, basket size. So you can make adjustments on the day by getting richer information, and you only need snippets. And let's not forget, we're trying to win every hour, every day. So you can make little adjustments all the time. Have a test culture. Make sure that your team have the ability to experiment and be creative. And maybe don't be the person that's standing over them. Say to them, these are the ways I want you to work. Maybe you already behave like this. Backup arsenal. Have a plan B. So if plan A is not working, be there. As I said at the outset, there's no bad weather, there's just bad clothing. Make sure that your plan B is ready, your raincoat is ready for the thing that might go wrong. Maybe you have spare subject lines, you can have alternate offers and pre-approved assets that are ready to drop. Having cross-team agility becomes important. As I mentioned, customer service becomes really important, because if they're getting calls or they're getting emails, give them something that they can turn into a sale. Say, look, we're going to empower you, not just through discount, but through a group of products we think you can win on all the time, particularly if it's technical or it's high value. Giving your team the chance to do that can turn service to sales, which I think is a really underutilized part of it. And we can do a lot of this through email as well, and we can track all of the information that's coming in so you can see the real value and pass that back to your team. And then finally, learn in motion. Don't wait for the campaign to end. The campaign start and end are just the parameters that we set them out on. But campaigns are ongoing, they're living, they're breathing, they're things that we should be looking at and adjust pilots based on live performance signals. The best learning we had in all that was COVID, that we had to adjust things so quickly. We did have to listen to customers, and Jim Sharp told me certainly the best story I heard during COVID, and promises in my last story, but they said that when they moved online, their whole way of operating, they're an athleisure brand that specialized in the UK of getting clothing to people by delivering them directly to gyms and working with influencers. So they had a really huge following when it came to online, and a lot of people who were in the personal training space. Well, when we moved to this world where we all sent home, they started empowering their network through affiliate programs. They said, okay, we're going to let you as creators do all your home workouts, but you can still earn your money. After 3 weeks, they realized that the people, their customers on the other end, were signaling through social messaging they were suffering from mental health issues, and they were able to then expand the range of influencers they worked with. They worked with people in yoga, in mindfulness, and movement exercises. They were able to, first of all, expand that to serve their customers. But what the output of that long term has been that they're able to expand the product set that they now offer to people. So that one social listening exercise has meant that they could move into other categories that they never would have dreamed of before. They were only in performance. gym clothing. So I think that those little performance signals are things that we can look at all the time. So your 5 C's in summary as we get close to the end are your Black Friday survivor kit. It's curiosity, the culture to stay curious, stay nimble. Compliance, inbox first, always. Think of your customer, recognize them, segment them, personalize them, and respect them. Campaign review, learn what worked and double down like in Vegas. Consistency, don't ghost after Black Friday. Remember to have a communication plan, talk to your customers, recognize them, and try and find out a little bit more about them. And maybe the first thing is to get to know you a little bit better first. And that is my 5C's Black Friday survival kit for you all. I hope there's something in there for everybody. And I hope there's one thing that you can take away today. And I'm happy to ask any questions that you may have at this point in time. Thanks so much, Vi.
Oh, thank you so much, Vinny. We'll just give everyone a minute to type things because that takes time as well if you have questions.
Of course.
In the meantime, something that you mentioned, that cross-team agility, it reminded me of this enterprise that I was working with. They were a big company, but I think it's very replicable in other scenarios as well, where we thought about our sales team and not sales team, customer support team. And we were like, let's enable them to do upsells. Again, we already have all that information and plans in our automations where we do upsells, cross-sells, etc. So we're like, why don't we put that information into documents for people and they can literally just follow the scenario. Okay, they bought this item, we can upsell this. And again, empowering them to do that. And we've seen like a massive uplift in post-purchase actions of people, that they would actually buy more stuff just by us enabling our customer support team.
Yeah, it's such a powerful thing to be able to do for your customers, much for your team as well, because you can solve problems really quickly, but you can present options. And I think in a modern world where we move so much more into automation, providing these tools allows the customers who want that human touch to get it, and people who just want information to solve the problem that they have at that moment in time, to have that solved as well in as efficient a manner as they want. But it doesn't mean that we can't we can't be clever enough to say we want to put some offers in there. And as I said quite a few times, we're not here to win 40 or 50% growth on every single campaign we do. We might have to be happy with getting 3 extra sales or 2 extra sales. And that's what we're fighting for. And I think the more I go through the years in e-commerce, they're the sort of wins that become the most, I suppose, the ones that you get the most from because you fought so hard to get them, and they become really, really powerful. But I could see a future where customer service becomes a really critical part of the sales arm, particularly, as I said, on technical and high value items. We used to do it lots in our car park business as well, we used to have people helping people select the right vehicle type and all those sort of things that become tricky for people. So it can be a really huge benefit to you as well.
Fantastic. And thinking from our audience's perspective as well, is it too late to start prepping for Black Friday? Is it too early? When should that happen? Because every year it seems like, hey, it's July and someone is already promoting Black Friday webinars. But from your experience in thinking about businesses who are maybe from smaller to medium sized, what would be your insight here? Are we behind? Are we ahead? What's happening?
I think you are where you are. That sounds really dumb, right? But if you are somebody who has some plan right now, you go back to that COVID example. If Black Friday was happening in 2 days' time, you would lock yourself in a room, you would take away all the information, you would look up a list like we've just gone through and say, right, what are the things I need to do? How do I plan for this? And you would get it done because survival or necessity becomes the thing that you go after. Or if they said we're moving Black Friday in a week, you would have to move all your campaigns, or your decision is to stay with them. So I kind of feel like you are where you are at this point. I go back to a point I raised earlier. One of the things I think Amazon have done really well, better than direct-to-consumer brands to a large degree, is they recognize that if you excite your customers a few times per year and get them into these cycles, you can change the way that they purchase from you. We still haven't learned that at brand level, I don't feel. So I think this idea of Black Friday being, you either discount, you promote newness, you get people into bundling, you get them into gifting. We put so much effort into Black Friday and we reap the benefits because we put the effort in. So I think to myself, why don't you do that 3 times and try it 3 times in 2026 and say, let's go Black Friday 3 times a year, and let's do that kind of effort across all of our channels and tell our customers we're going to do it, and communicate to them. I think there's more margin to be gained by exciting people more frequently throughout the year, engaging in something like that, than anything else. And if you think about the way that this year has gone, it's been about tariffs, it's been about geopolitical issues. We have waited on every single thing to happen before we took an action. It's one of those areas that you can be a little bit proactive and start winning back weeks and months. And I go back to that because really, when you're in the execution side of e-commerce, being able to win those days, weeks, and months become really, really important when it comes to annual review or looking at what the success factors are for your business. So I think that this idea of you are where you are, but you've got to say, well, really, what has Black Friday become for us, and how do we want to change out of it? Because I do know lots of people that don't like Black Friday because it's this huge, big behemoth or behemoth, and we don't want to be involved in it. REI did this years and years ago. But you can develop your own version of what Black Friday is for your brand and understand. You can communicate to someone and say, we're not getting involved in it because we're a business who believes that people should have, the freedom to work in that day, which is effectively what REI did. They hated the stampede of people running into stores. So they had this great campaign called Opt Outside, which became a great social lever for them. And now they use that every year. I think they have nearly 15,000 employees that get the day off, that get to go outdoors, they get to share the social pictures. Other brands have joined in that movement as well. So I think it's about determining, right now you have a job to do because customers will be in buying mode. They will be in intent mode, as you have said. They'll be buying their gifts. They'll be buying for themselves. But how do you turn that into a learning for the business, I think, is really down to you, and how you place emphasis on the effort that goes into it versus the reward that you get coming out of it.
I love the challenge. Have 3 Black Fridays next year. And I think the keyword there is excitement. You should love your customers, right? And just getting them excited about your brand and products, that should be the goal.
It's amazing. And I think about crowdfunding because we did so much of it. We raised like $5 million with hammocks and all these cool products that we had. The best thing we had was newness. People love getting behind the fact we had innovation in our products. We had about a 52% upsell rate when it came to add-ons to our product when people have bought it. And you think about the way that Kickstarter worked for us was like, well, you sell a product, but you get it on pre-order. So while you might buy a hammock from us, you're not getting it till January. But we'll send you a reminder to say, hey, we've just gone into production. We're going to secure your purchase now, and that's November. By the way, here's these other 10 things that you can buy from us. We had a 52% upsell rate on those purchases, which are pretty much pure profit. But to be able to do that 3 times a year meant that we now were able to get this captive audience of customers for ourselves. We were able to bring new customers through our journey. It became a really powerful lever for our business to do that. I know tripod businesses that raised 35 to 40 million a year just doing that one thing, which is, one campaign with one new tripod. Tropic Feel, this amazing Barcelona-based footwear brand who do it 3 times a year. And I just literally, I look at my color and my size every time I get that email from them. And that's it. They could raise $10 million in a campaign in full public view just using email as the lever. It's incredible once you have that community behind you.
Oh, absolutely. And I think something I noticed and I heard from other people managing accounts and working with customers is, and we touched on it a little bit, is looking at reporting, looking at data, and like now Black Friday is coming up. And I would like to challenge people to check their last year's data as well. It's usually like we get so excited about or frustrated or stressed about Black Friday from marketing side. But have you checked your last year's data? I'm sure you can find some winning things, some lessons in that, and kind of build on that. And then if you do it 3 times, then you can almost build a blueprint. Again, just a winning combination that you can just run on repeat and just optimize.
Yeah, I love it. I if you can do something 3 times and win from it, you're onto something really, really special. The one thing that really worked for me over the years has always been going early to my VIP list, giving them early access to whatever else I was doing, or giving them the only people with access to this one thing. You get those people coming back all weekend. You let them into your Black Friday deals on Thursday. They will be back 3, 4, 5 times over the course of Black Friday. Cyber Monday weekend, you can be almost guaranteed of it. So if you can get those little quick wins from them, I think it becomes really, really, really valuable. But you've hit the nail on the head. I think if you can find that thing you can repeat over and over, your success comes from that. And then stop doing the things that are not working for you. Stop, start, do more. Was what they taught us at eBay.
Absolutely. Alrighty, I'm looking at the chat and the Q&A tab. All is clear. Customer support team, thank you so much for answering the questions as well and sharing the resources. Everyone, you will receive the recording in a couple of days. We will include the slides and everything we have shared. Vinny, thank you so much for being here and sharing all your wisdom.
My absolute pleasure, Vi. As always, I love chatting with you and with the team. Thanks everyone for listening and for taking time out of your morning. I really do appreciate it. And good luck this Black Friday. Hope it is good to you all.
Fantastic. Again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again soon. Bye.
See ya.